monster inside of me. You better watch out if you ignite me. There's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me. And he gets claws real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the sword. Never getting bored, loves the blood and gore. Always wanting more, freedom from the source. They don't really understand until they feel the force.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the All in LUFC podcast. How are you doing, Gary?
Very well, Stu. Not too bad. There is a lot to get through today in our All in LUFC podcast, courtesy of the disabled team. And I'm Gary from Watch Your Long Lees. If you've not seen me before, hello. And have a very good day. I hope you're all well and healthy out there, and I hope all of this news coming out of Elland Road isn't boggling your mind, because honestly, it's been boggling me all day, Stu. And I think we need an agenda to perhaps dissect what has actually been going on over definitely the last 24 hours, and more so the last 4 days. I think since that Cardiff game, and I think Stu's going to tell us what that agenda is looking like at the moment. Stu, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I thought we'd start on the recap on the Cardiff game. Then we'll go on to player injuries, what we suffered from that game. Then we'll go on to the Max Aaron situation. Recap on Shrewsbury. And then the big news what come out was Nonto asked not to be selected according to reports, so we can talk a bit about that. Finishing up with any other business. So, do we go straight into it, Gary? Do we do the recap on Cardiff?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with the Cardiff game is, and a couple of us made videos and content about that match, how determined we actually looked in the second half to try and get back into that match. And it didn't matter, come rain, wind or shine, hell or high water, just what it needed for us to get back into that match. Because make no mistake, they were there to sit in deep. They got the 2 goals and they were sitting in deep anyway. And I thought that, it's going to take something a little bit special here for us to get through, to try and at least claw a goal back into it. And sure enough, we look back at Coops, and what he did, put his body on the line, got us a goal, and then suddenly everybody's into an extra gear of urgency that, you know what, we've got that mentality back a little bit of fighting spirit, and a little bit more tenacity. We can tire this lot out. We'll run them off the park and get ourselves another goal and try and get a point out of the match. And thankfully we did. Make no mistake, Stu, a lot of people in EFL, clubs, fans and all the rest of it, they would have loved it to see Leeds United lose the first game at home. I know 1 or 2 other fans, the support of the teams, and they were absolutely convinced that we just didn't have enough in the tank to fight our way back into that match. So it was a spirited performance, and the second goal, just made all the difference for us. We got a nice finish there, almost at the death, wasn't it? I think not a couple of minutes out. That second goal, the second goal scorer was, who was it, Stu?
Somerville.
It was Somerville. Of course it was. And I'm sat there thinking, the thing that cheeses me off is, I took a screenshot of Somerville, and the person hanging on Somerville there is Wilfred Nonto. More about him later on in this podcast, because there's a lot of stuff swirling around, and we need to get this stuff off our chest, I think, Stu. 100%, yeah. I made a video about it, about the post match, and you can see it in the thumbnail. It was 1 day ago. It took me it took me about 4 hours to knock that one out by the time I'd finished with everything. And I'm sat there, I'm thinking, he doesn't look like someone who wants to leave Leeds United, doesn't Wilfred Gnonto? But then, like I say, more about him later on. And I'm sat there thinking, we could quite easily, if we get a little lucky break, we could get a third goal. That video that I made, I started off and I'm thinking the only way to make this video is to try and make it in a chronological order with the match, and it was a bad first half, wasn't it? Well, I thought we were good, we were all right, but we were solid. But then it was these lapses in concentration, and I think Helder's coming for a bit of stick. I think it was Dan James came in for a bit of stick as well over that second goal. Luke Ayling comes in for a bit of stick. Somerville should have been somewhere out on that right-hand side initially, according to the team lineup, but I think Farke's swapped them around a little bit in that first half. And, has it led to a bit of miscommunication, a bit of confusion that, switching Somerville and Gnonto or just altering the position just as the opening half progresses, has that caused a breakdown in communication? I think that probably has a bit of something to do with it. I was looking at a couple of other Leeds United YouTubers today, and they're all saying the same thing. Luke Ayling hasn't got the legs, which we've known that for a while, and sending him so far up front isn't a good idea. Up the pitch isn't a good idea, because if we get caught on a counter attack, it's quite obvious that they're just going to try to attack, get their wingers onto the ball, and they've got acres of space to run into, and Coops isn't going to be able to get across there. Whoever else is at the back with Coops at the time isn't going to be able to get across. So two really, really soft goals, I thought, that we conceded yet again. It's something that we've been guilty of for a long, long time. I think a lot of Leeds fans are crying out for new defenders, and it sounds like Farke has got that as a priority to do. That defence has to be a lot more robust. But I think as well as obviously having the players, the caliber of player we're talking about, the tactics matters, Stu. Yourself, it's a lot easier running forward and attacking an opponent's goal than it is running back. And if you're doing that, 3 or 4 times, fair enough. 8, 9 times in a match, it soon starts getting heavy on the legs, I think is the best way to put it. From my days of playing football, it's the worst part of football, I think. Playing a game is knowing that the opponent is attacking your goal and you're trying to get back, and you pretty much know that there's no way, even if I run as fast as I possibly can, I'm not going to get back. By the time I get back there, ball's in back at net. And I think that's probably, when we look at Gnonto's reaction as they're breaking forward, I think he probably knows, because it doesn't look that much of a difference when that ball's played over the top. Is it McGuinness? Plays the ball over the top, and
they're away, aren't they?
Yeah, it is away, and you know for a fact that Gnonto's fast, but he ain't going to cover 40 yards needed to try and catch that player, because he's flying down there. Is it O'Dowd? I think O'Dowd.
Something like that, wasn't it?
Going down the lane. And I was looking at the look on Gnonto's face. It's like, well, he either doesn't care, or he's probably thought to himself, "There's no way I'm going to catch him." Or he's probably thinking, where the hell's Somerville? He should be out here. What am I doing here? And he gets caught in no man's land, doesn't he?
No man's land, yeah. I was going to say that from your still on your video. It
Say
looked
again?
like you were in, the video what you did?
Yeah.
I strongly suggest people go watch it because it was really good. But you did that still with Gnonto, and he was in no man's land.
Yeah. He's in no man's land. And it looks like, it doesn't look that big a distance from some camera angles, but when you look at other camera angles, you're thinking, actually, you know what, that's probably 30 odd yards. Is that the distance between him and when the winger picks it up? That you're thinking to yourself, Christ Almighty, he's probably thinking, "There's no way I'm going to get anywhere near him." So I mean, I think the camera angles sometimes do give us a bit of a false view of what's actually going on the pitch, and it's like, if you look at the camera angle from, I think it's like the Cop end, it doesn't look very far. The distance doesn't look that great, but when you look at it from another angle down the West Stand, you're thinking, actually, you know what? That's quite a distance. There's no way he's going to catch him, even if he runs full pelt. This guy is absolutely steaming down that left wing at our defence, and he's just not going to catch him. And he's probably made that decision to try and conserve himself and think, well, hopefully we can defend this moment in the match. Unfortunately, we've been unable to defend it. Ayling got caught as well. If you look at that game, look at that pass again, he goes forward into one of their midfielders, and then he's like, "Oh Christ, it's gone right over the top of my head. Is this? I better turn around." He starts running back, and then instead of going to the left winger, he tries to block the cross, but it's too late. It's a really, really good ball. There's not. I mean, people say there's not a lot we could do about it, but when the quality of the way that Cardiff opened us up, you sat there thinking to yourself, we've seen this sort of thing time and time again. And why on earth are we sending Ayling so far up the pitch, or tucking him towards the centre circle, when we know that if we do that, there's nobody else out there? And if you look where that particular run started, it was sort of near the centre circle. I'm just having a look at a couple of those screenshots as we speak, Stu. He runs into, I think, can't quite tell the number, but the other thing as well is Nonto. I mean, nobody's is he even been given a call that he needs to be getting back? Because if you look at that initial one there, he's looking at McGuinness, and McGuinness is just about to play this ball straight between Nonto and Ayling over the top. And I'm wondering, we talk about communication. Is anybody drawing Nonto's attention to the fact that there's the left fullback's literally steaming straight past you? But this is always the risk when you're playing a high line, isn't it, Stu? People aren't communicating. They're not talking to each other. They're not aware of how dangerous they are on the break. And make no mistake, I think Cardiff, although they had a poor season last season, if they're coming up against other teams like us in this EFL season, I think they'll be quite safe, because they're quite able to attack the opponents and open them up. And I think that's where we have been struggling, isn't it? We're not that great at the back, and we're struggling going forward.
Well, the first thing I thought when we at half time, so we did that watch along together.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought at half time, it was the first thing what going in my head. How have we conceded 2 goals in the first game of the season in front of a packed Ellen Road, new manager? It's supposed to be a new era of the Farker era. Now, but I take time to reflect, and to be fair, it was their only 2 chances at game, and they scored 2 goals from it. Do you know what I mean? Our play going forward, I will quite, apart from that final third, the final ball or the final phase, I was really happy with how we were playing. It was just like you said, 2 lapses of concentration at the back, and we seem to get punished from it.
I think it's concentration, but the more important thing is communication, Stu. And I think if we look at what's gone on, Nonto somebody should be screaming and shouting at him that is getting done around the blind side here, and that you don't see that. You don't see that on the pitch. Now whether that should be, it can't be coming from Cooper. He's too far away. It should be coming from probably someone in the midfielder, a bit more of an experienced hand. But this is another area of weakness, isn't it? That we don't seem to have what I call a captain in the midfield, a workman, someone who's going to really, really scold them if they're doing stuff wrong, or draw their attention to like positioning. So, I mean, there's multiple failings in both goals when you look at it. And it seems to me that communication's a key part of the game. It's probably an area that, not many of us talk about and not many of us give enough importance to. But I think when you're looking at those goals, I'm pretty sure that, I mean, the second one, I think Dan James gets caught in between a 1-2, doesn't he?
Yes.
And, and I'm probably Ampadu's a little bit too far advanced. If he's 5 yards further back, Ampadu, I'm pretty sure that we probably cut that chance out. And, we end up winning that match. But these are key moments in the game where you could sit there all day long, work on the fitness, work on the skill, work on the drilling, the control, all of this stuff. But if there's no communication on that pitch, now that Cooper, but you see, the thing is this: we've conceded those goals, and Cooper was on the pitch.
Yes.
So if he is the captain, and then he comes off injured, and we don't concede any goals after he's gone off, does that mean then that Cooper's not conveying his instructions firmly enough to the other players? Do you know what I mean? That's why we are looking a little bit slack. I won't say a little bit. I mean, we are slack at the back. I mean, let's make no mistake about it. We've been terrible for a long time. So is it that part of what's missing in that squad is a great communicator? We think about the great midfielders, the great defenders, and one of the key qualities that those, I hate to say these names, Roy Keane, John Terry, Scholesy and all these other guys, Keno, and you look at what quality they had, and it's communication. And it's a quality that I think it doesn't get enough respect in the game.
Well, Lucas Reddy was a communicator, wasn't he? He was a massive communicator. How many times do we say? And we all say it. I wish his keeper had yelled more, command his box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we do think about it, but maybe subconsciously we just don't. We don't think about it enough, like you said.
Recognize it as a skill. A key skill in the formulation of a team. Having a couple of. I mean, I could say this. It's not very polite, but having a couple of dogs barking instructions at the other players about over positioning, play, key decisions during the match is, I think, it's vital, isn't it? Does it seem that we're lacking that kind of personality in the team? And is Cooper's communication, is it effective? And at the moment, for me, you've got to raise your eyebrows and think, well, possibly not. It would be interesting to get some drilled down info on stats about stuff like that, but for this podcast, I don't think we're going to be able to do that at this time. Maybe chat can help us out.
Well, speaking about chat, bless them, I just want to quickly say hello to Hervinda. Kieran, who's in chat. Aman, our lovely Aman is in chat there. Bless her. She's very happy as with us as ever. Hey, you numpties. Sorry I couldn't make it earlier, Stu. I was in a meeting. Kieran's saying hello, good evening, lads. Afternoon, lads. And he's going to watch my Nonso video. Lee Statham's in the house. Hiya, Lee. Hope you're doing well, mate. Inky, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, Inky, mate. Good to see you. Rob is a Spurs fan who's joined us. Hello, Lee Statham and Stu. I know this is a Leeds United show, but thoughts on Kane going to the land of sausage and spicy cabbage? 100 million euro, apparently. It's been they've agreed a deal between Bayern Munich and Tottenham. 100 million euro.
Well, as far as I know, yesterday it had been rejected, and all the pundits are going around pretty much saying that Kane's the only thing Kane cares about is getting the Premier League top scorer, isn't it? Now, I mean, I haven't seen any information today about what's going on with Harry Kane, but it's like anything, isn't it? It's his career intentions. He's getting paid enough money at Spurs not to have to leave, not to have to worry about the rest of his life and all the rest of it. If he goes to Bayern, is it Bayern? Are we talking about Bayern Munich here, Stu? I assume we are.
Yeah. Bayern Munich.
Then, like I said, I haven't seen any information on it. But is he going to turn that team into a team that's capable of winning the Champions League? Difficult one. It's all about goals, isn't it? It's all about goals. Yeah, there's no doubt about it in my mind. He's a great striker, and he can put the ball in the back of the net. Would you have him in the Leeds team? Oh, absolutely.
100%.
100%. He gets stuck in. He bullies the defenders. Doesn't give anybody a time on the ball. And when he has half a chance, a cross, 18-yard box is lethal. The guy's lethal, and his strong physical presence. Great player. I think if they get him, for them, that's going to be a hell of a signing. For Levy and Spurs fans, I mean, I was watching a Talk Sport debate the other day, and they were saying, part of the problems of the failings at Spurs is that they've relied on Harry Kane too much. And when he's injured, Spurs are just, floundering mid-table side. I mean, it must be gutting for Spurs fans right now.
Yeah, but I just don't know. I think the Spurs fans all know that Spurs rely on Harry Kane too much, and I think if they get the right amount of money, and if with Big Ange there now, Ange Postecoglou, I call him Big Ange. If he can reinvest that 100 million euro into that squad, start a new era under a new era at Tottenham. I think Tottenham could be a better team overall.
I think overall you're probably right, Stu. I think they get 2 or 3 decent players from continent or from Premier League. I mean, look how quickly Liverpool swooped in for was it McAllister?
Yeah, they got him straight away, didn't they?
They didn't mess about with him. As soon as that final whistle went on that final day, they pretty much announced the signing. There are bargains out there to be had, but time's running out for Spurs. I think if they were serious about getting rid of him, they would have said, "Look, Harry, the choice is yours. We want you to leave, and we wish you well. You've been a great servant to the club. No hard feelings, but we think from your career perspective, it's going to be better for you to go to Bayern Munich, and then Spurs move on. But I mean, if it turns out that all this other stuff about he loves the club, he doesn't want to leave London and all the rest of it, and I think from his point of view, he's going to be thinking, well, these kinds of offers only come along once in a lifetime. And most people are going to just say, you know what, I could go. If it don't work out, I can still move on.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think you've just got to think about how do you forward your career and stuff like that. Everybody's looking to forward the career, progress the career. We've talked about this before, haven't we, Stu?
Yeah.
Someone comes to me or you and says, right, you do the same job, less hours, but we're going to triple your salary. What are you going to do?
You do it, don't you? Because you do. You don't turn it down, do you?
You do it. No, don't turn it down. Go in, take it, milk it for what it's worth, and then move on.
And he'll win. He's guaranteed to win at least one trophy in here at Bayern Munich.
Oh yeah, he's gonna. I mean, the thing is this: what are Tottenham's chances this coming season of winning anything? In my opinion, it's very slim, isn't it? I think there has to be a coming together of circumstances, the universe aligning, and then Spurs will win it. They'll win something big. But you look at the other sides. You've got Man United making signings, Liverpool making signings, City, Newcastle. Now you throw Newcastle into the mixer. It's going to be super competitive this year. That Premier League. But you see, your top man there, Pep. I fancy Pep, to be honest with you. Is it 5 out of 6? Isn't it? I think for Pep.
It's won now. Yeah, it's a Premier League title. Yeah.
And I mean, you look at the squad on there. The subs bench. You think if he could literally just get rid of the starting 11, replace it with the subs bench, and they'll still end up winning. The talent that they've got across that squad. Difficult to see anybody toppling Man City, I think, this decade, to be honest with you. But there we go.
Some YouTube channels, content creators, and I mean big YouTube content creators.
Yeah.
Just think that Tottenham, Man City are now on the decline after losing Gundogan and players like and Riyad Mahrez and stuff. They're on the decline. I don't think they are. I just think they're warming up. They're warming up.
No, that's Pep's. If we talk about Pep over his career and Pep's lines in the sand, and one of the things he recycles is his players. And by the time they get to a certain age, you're done. You're done with Pep Guardiola. Don't matter who you are, how good you are, all this sort of stuff. And we've seen it time and time again over the years. Look at the players that he's let go. They're all over 30. They're all sort of in the final years of the careers, and he'll just move them on and send them off to doesn't matter where, and get them to the end of the contract. And he's not going to put a 29-year-old, 30-year-old on a 5-year deal in Pep Guardiola. No chance. No. Incoming players. He's very. It's obviously he's quite strict about that kind of thing. And I mean, look at the guy. Look at the honours that the guys won. So losing Gundogan, for me, I can imagine that Pep Guardiola, whoever is bringing in, it's going to be a similar kind of player. It's going to have similar kind of traits, all that sort of thing. Younger, fresher legs, hungrier, Stu. And I think that's one of the things, isn't it, as well, about players wanting to prove a point, be hungry and all this sort of thing. A couple of signings have played in their pre-season friendlies, and that's not a common thing for Pep, apparently. But he obviously needs a bit of time to evaluate them, see how they're going to fit into his systems and stuff like that. I mean, the guys is tactically above. I think. Well, he's at the moment he's above anybody else. There's no one comes close at the moment in present day football. So difficult one for Spurs. Difficult one. I think if they finish in the top 4, they'll have had a very, very good season. Yeah. And perhaps a lucky season. Top 6 is probably more attainable for them. But I mean, they were in the driving seat last season, and Levy, he let it all go to his head, and they got rid of the manager, didn't they? As soon as they got rid of was it Conte, wasn't it? soon as I got rid of Conte, they dropped like a stone, didn't they, Spurs? So, the manager's playing a key role at the minute in world football, European football. Nobody's ahead of Pep Guardiola, and that's it.
Well,
or Sam Allardyce.
Yeah. Big Sam. Yeah, speaking about we were talking about players and stuff, and Man City signing. Apparently, the rumor is that is going after Lucas Paqueta from West Ham. So young Brazilian, exciting player who can do as good a job as Gundogan, I think. But anyway, let's get back to these comments. Hermione says, sorry, Gary.
Hermione, she disagrees with me, does Hermione?
She does. She does. Sorry, Gary. Ayling is the defender. That is his job. He was 100% to blame. Also lost and late for the second goal too. It happens almost every game with him. Play him at centre back, and that disappears from his game.
I think this is the thing, Hermione, and I have to disagree. Just put that one back on there, because I think it's a team effort. This is the thing, isn't it? It's a team effort, and you're right winger. Even the centre forwards, they have to. I can't remember what the phrase is. The best form of defense is attack, isn't it?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our attacking has been terrible. And the defense is terrible, Hermione. So, in the initial lineup, they've got, I think, Somerville as listed as the right-sided midfielder. But there's been a change. Nonto's got caught. He's got caught in no man's land, and we just discussed this. Ayling, we know Ayling's weaknesses, but there's no. If we're not trying to offer any sort of protection for him, or someone who's got the legs needed to deal with those players at that speed, he's got no chance. He's going to really, really struggle. I mean, Nonto should have been made aware. When you look at that freeze frame shot, I don't know if Stu, I can show you this. Just give me a second. I'll show you the shot because present.
I think you can do it, can't you?
I can do it, Stu. Yeah. If we look at this shot here, I hope, is that the right one? No. No. Let's look. Windows. It could be this one here, but it's blurred out. If we look at this shot here, Hermione, Nonto's here. Ayling's picked up a player here, but this player is not active. And what happens is this ball gets clipped straight over the top, and O'Dowd's making his run from his own half, so he's onside. Ayling's initial position is here, and he runs forward to this player, but by then it's in the air, it's travelling, and there's nobody giving him a call. He should be. Nonto should be out here near this touchline, or somewhere closer to this player here. If one of those two conditions happen, they don't score that goal, in my opinion. So, I mean, it's very easy for us to sit there and blame one individual player. It is a team sport at the end of the day. Yeah. I think we have to be a little bit more mindful that, he comes in for some stick, does Luke Ayling. But, I mean, we could also say that Ayling should be saying he's one of the experienced players on the team. Ayling should be saying to Nonto, Wilfred, look behind you. Yeah. And by the time he's realised it, he's too late. He ain't going to catch him. So, Cardiff have gambled going forward and having a pop at us there, and it's something that they've identified from the past. Our squad hasn't changed that much. Our playing style seems to be changing a little bit more, but teams are going to be looking at that thinking, all we have to do is sit tight, sit deep, make them try and play around us, don't let them play through us, and when we get a chance, we spring an attack. That's it. And other teams are going to be thinking that about Leeds. Our challenge is to think about how we're going to deal with those kinds of threats that teams are going to spring counter attacks on us. And we saw it all last season, didn't we, Stu? We sat there and we were just getting opened up like a can of beans, mate. It was terrible. It was bloody hard. This season won't be as easy as what some people make out. I think we're going to, if we're defending like that and we're not we're having lapses in concentration. I think maybe. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, Stu, next point of business, or do you have anything else to say about Cardiff?
Look, I've got something to say about Leeds. I thought the second half, just like in the first half, really, we were in control of the game apart from the two mistakes. Yeah. And I think it was the 70th minute. A stat come up on screen. We had 22 touches in the opposition's box, and I think we were 1-0 up then because Cooper scored early in the second half, didn't he? So we were 1-0 up, but I were a bit concerned that we're having all these touches in box, but we wasn't testing the keeper enough, if you know what I mean. But the attack, I can't complain about the attacking style of Leeds United at this moment in time. It's just the defensive side of it. So we'll go on to the next subject. I'll just catch up with some comments. What's Inky says off topic. Some
comments.
Off topic. Kenny's giving me an headache. Bet he is.
Hermione said, "What's on your right?" That's it. Right, I'm catching this now. Right, go ahead.
Hermione says, "What's on your mind, Inky?" And Lee's saying hello to Inky and everyone. Hermione, I don't know what to do at the moment. Hi Lee. Oh, for your FPL, right? Sorry, now I know what you mean, Inky. Hi Lee. Yeah. I mean, who you get at the moment, Inky? Richo, Everton fan. I hope you're doing well, mate. Good afternoon, guys. Is Nonto on the way to Everton? Well, if you're going to pay more money for him, Richo, yeah. But if you're only going to pay 15 million, no chance. I'm afraid to say. Kane and Wilson up front. Oh, that's on his FPL. That's on Inky's FPL. Everyone said hello to each other.
That's what happens.
Yeah, so everybody's saying hello to each other, which is great to see. Right, Inky says, regarding Nonto, take the money and get rid. Right, we'll get on with that. We'll talk on that in a bit later. Inky, that's on the agenda, don't you worry. I think everyone's saying hello to each other and stuff like that. Let's just bring up the next let's go on to the next point of business. Right, player injuries, Gary. How unlucky are Leeds United?
Well, is it luck? And Stu, honestly, I mean, you look at it is partially down to luck. And one of the things that Bielsa was criticised for was overworking the players in training. And I'm just wondering, is that the case with Farke? Because there are reports circulating that his training regimes are pretty brutal, apparently, by some accounts. So, luck plays a part. And I mean, I think it's just about care, isn't it? Body care and just trying to make sure that you're not overdoing yourself in training. But we look at the four that we've sustained since that was it since Hearts game? It wasn't it? Well, yeah, we lost Bamford. I mean, Bamford got booted in the chin. His hamstring was on the way out as he was falling to the deck anyway. Joseph, I'm not so sure what happened with him. Are you, Stu? Was that a training incident, do you think? Because I think he
I'm
appeared for us
assuming
against
so. Yeah,
Hearts,
I'm assuming
didn't he?
so.
Yeah,
Rutier went off, didn't he, against Hearts?
Rutier, I can't remember what happened to Rutier.
He got a bit of a knock. He got a bit of an elbow in his stomach, and he couldn't recover.
That was it. Yeah, it was in his midriff, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly. So I mean, we've gone up there. We've gone up there, and these lads have been roughed up a little bit. I mean, for me, I'm thinking to myself, this is a taster of what's to come in the Championship. And boy, oh boy, did they find out against Cardiff that it ain't going to be an easy ride, and a lot of stuff that should get where play should get stopped isn't getting stopped. There was a correction I was thinking about that Cardiff game, incidentally, that the goal that was scored by Dan the man, Dan James. It wasn't Dan James that was offside. I think it was Ayling when I checked back on that.
Right.
But during the commentary, we weren't sure what had happened because he looked onside. But then they said no, it was actually Ayling and when you look at the replay, it was, linesman's got it spot on, I think. So, but they're always difficult ones to spot. That by the by, it's a nightmare, isn't it, Stu? It is literally the worst nightmare that we could have had with injuries. I think partially it's luck, especially during the games. But then in training, how any of these players are getting injured in training is beyond me. Push yourself fine, but don't overdo it. Don't stretch, don't put yourself at risk if you're having a five-a-side, a knockabout, that kind of thing. Because you do yourself in training, you become useless. And we're now starting to look, even before match week 2 gets underway, we're starting to look really, really, really stuck, like a side that doesn't have or is lacking the depth that's needed to compete at this level. I think that we're going to need a couple of we still need a lot of players. What do you think about the injury, Stu? I'll let you get on with it. What's your thoughts? Is Farke do you think he's overdoing them a bit?
Well, the problem, right, it's a difficult balance, isn't it? It's a difficult balance. I remember were it Ayling or were it Cooper who come out at the end of last season and says that we just won't fit enough?
That was Ayling, I think.
So you've got
one of the things.
So Farke knows this, that the players won't fit enough. So he's been trying to build up the fitness. I mean, the Cooper thing, it could happen to anybody. You score a goal, you land awkwardly. I've seen it happen a few times. But as for the Rutier one, just took an unfortunate knock, and it's caused some damage. Bamford, bless him, is made of glass. Every time he goes down, I feel sorry. I really feel for him because you think is he going to get back up again? So he's got Bamford's always he's had his injury problems for the past two seasons now. Yeah. Then you've got who I forgot? Bamford, Rutier, Joseph, Cooper. Cooper's got injured scoring a goal. You've got Tyler Adams, who had an hamstring injury, got over that, and according to Carl Robinson on TalkSport, he said that he had his hamstring
injury on the way back, I think.
Yeah, and then it went again. So you can't. I don't know if that's down to training or what. I don't know how hamstring injuries happen. Is that overstretching, Gary?
Well, your hamstring is part that's at the back of your leg, isn't it? So I mean, you can easily feel your hamstring if you try and bend down and sort of touch your toes and stuff like that, or start doing like stretch. You can even do it when you're stretching, but
I can't see my toes when I stand up.
Well, I know for you, it's a bit for you, it's a little bit tricky, isn't it, buddy? But
yeah,
when people are trying to sort of touch the toes, do these little activities where they're having to bend a lot, you then stretching the hamstring, or you're making different movements and motions as well with your legs and stuff like that. Is it not enough or too much warming up and too much warming down? I mean, when we used to play, you'd have a gentle warm up because you didn't want to. You didn't want to do yourself in training, not doing 30-yard, 40-yard, 50-yard sprints or anything like that. Just gentle jogs. You might need 10, 15 minutes jogging before you start really warming up, so to speak. Just to make sure everything's loosened up, but it's a tough one, isn't it, Stu? I mean, we all sort of think we're invincible until we do something. Same with me the other week, and I rolled on my ankle, and all the side of my foot was swollen and bruised, and it was a horrible sprain. But I mean, it was so bad I couldn't put any weight on it. And I literally found myself like blooming hopping around at work, thinking, Jesus Christ, I can't wait to get home and just put my feet up and get some ice packs onto this. And I was like, I'm sure I haven't broken it. If it had been broken, it'd have felt a lot worse. And it ended up, that ankle injury. It took me sort of a week to get over it. But I mean, that's part of the reason why I stopped playing, because like I was always doing my ankles. My ankles just couldn't cope with the demands of playing the game at a competitive level. And I think that I hope that they're being a little bit more cautious and a little bit more careful about warm ups, warm downs. If anyone's been on these stadium tours, I've been to Arsenal one, and Emirates. I think they've got a plunge pool, like an ice bath, and as soon as they've sort of finished showering, some of them go take a dip in the plunge pool or whatever, and that's supposedly designed to aid the recovery of muscles and stuff like that. And different teams, different clubs. It's amazing how they all seem to have the different methods, techniques, ideas on how what a recovery should look like after a game. And that if that's the case in the stuff that we see on the pitch, it's going to be even more interesting to see the stuff that goes on behind closed doors in training, isn't it? That different people have different ideas about what it means to be fit, what it means to not overexert your body, but to play within limits. It's like anything else, isn't it? If you have a car, you're not going to drive that car at top speed all of the time, are you?
No.
For obvious reasons. Same with football. You're not going to be running at full speed for the entire 90 minutes. So there has to be an element of, yes, we're going to have fitness, but we're going to have to trade it off with fitness, which is that you don't get injured, that we don't have to send you down to the physio's room, and we don't lose you for God knows how many weeks on end. Because if you get injured during a match, fair enough, I get it. If it's an impact injury against another player, for example.
Yeah.
But if it's just a case of, you're running along and the ankle goes, the knee goes, the hamstring goes, whatever it is, then it's got to be questioned that the stress and the strain on the body was probably occurring for maybe days, weeks before that particular incident happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it. It's sports science is a fascinating area of study. It's something that if ever the chance landed in my lap to study it, I would probably go into it. It's a huge area, you then can take charge of. You can actually go into these football clubs and take charge of training regimes, diet planning, and all of this sort of stuff that these players need. But you see, in the world of entertainment, they're not seen as football players anymore. They're seen as athletes, Stu. And you'll hear like American sports commentators refer to these players in different sports as not as players but athletes. They are elite athletes, and that's what they are, and that they're doing that. They're working on the fitness most of the day, every day of the week. So there is a luck element. We're very unlucky by the look of it.
Yeah.
And I honestly think this might be, you remember to the Bielsa days, there were weeks there we were struggling to make a starting 11.
Yeah.
Doris from the tea room, she's going to be our starting keeper today. It was that bad. So train them, get them fit, fine. Overdoing them, you're asking for trouble. We've seen it before at Leeds, and I think Farker will probably know that. I think he'll have been informed about the club and a little bit about recent history, goings on, etc. So, yeah, let's see. Let's hope we don't get any more. I'll be touching my wood, touching the desk, and let's hope we don't get any more injuries until we have a few players returning. And I certainly think in the situation that we're in, it would be ill-advised to let any player go at this moment in time until we start having a couple of recoveries. But then again, the money's only on the table for a short period of time. Once that transfer window is shut, we're going to be waiting until January. Then, but I mean, clubs have stopped transfers happening because perhaps the squad has been thin on the ground. That kind of thing's happened in the past. I could see it easily happening over the next 3 weeks at Leeds. I think the club are ill-advised if we're going to let players go.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
totally agree with you. Just quickly say hello to people in chat. Hiya, Paul, mate, who's joined. And hiya, Glenn. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Right. This was from press conference. Daniel Farker mentioned about how the contracts were drawn up in the past in his press conference. What he said is these types of contracts must never happen again. Leeds must be in the driving seat. Totally agree.
I think every fan would agree, Michael. But I think Stu and I were just discussing off air the Bosman ruling and player power and dressing room power and all of this sort of stuff. It's like anything, isn't it, in a football club at the minute that it's easier said than done, isn't it? And you can't just start removing clauses from contracts when they're due up for renewal. When perhaps the example Jack Harrison, if we take Jack Harrison for example, that Jack. Example, we're in the Premier League, but we're just taking this relegation clause out of your contract that we have to sell you if we get relegated. We're not going to allow that. That kind of thing then has a major problem on that player's league. It's all to do with law and all of this kind of thing. And if you're starting to significantly adjust the player's terms and conditions of employment, because that's what a contract is, then, don't expect that player to be happy about that. Expect them to try and start forcing moves. And we've seen a bit of that happening over the last 48 hours, haven't we, Stu?
Yes, definitely.
Madness, utter madness. Yeah, it's difficult one. It's with employment, and football players and agents. We just see it that they think, oh well, it's all about the money. To the agents, I'm pretty sure that, and the players, I'm pretty sure that they will both be sat down, the player, the agent, looking in depth at terms, conditions, and the things that they are happy with, the things that they're not happy with, and in the event that there's a change of manager and things start getting sour, the player relationship, what's the quickest way to get out? Get a transfer sorted out. There's a lot goes on in that kind of field that a lot of us just aren't privy to. I wish we were. It'd be great, but you would imagine that it's the lawyers and the accountants that are sorting all that kind of thing out on behalf of the club, and that the club have got professionals sitting there making sure that the club's best interests are at heart. And you hope so. And if they haven't, the blooming well want to get that sorted out. I'm sure the 49ers probably have their own ideas. And now the taking over now the takeover's complete and Radrazani are out of the way. Over the next 5 years, let's hope that contracts that are drawn up with new players or renewing players are a little bit more favourable to Leeds. But you see, the thing is when a player has that kind of release, and a club does come in. We saw it very quickly happen with Rodrigo. He was out the door. That was it. Did he want to leave, or is it just a case of he doesn't have a choice? The agents are controlling him, these players, and I often suspect that a lot of players have no idea and they have no control over what the agent has done. Speaking of agents, there was a story that I saw today, because we are moving on about the Aaron's debacle.
Yes.
Is that correct, Stu?
Yep.
That's next on our. You can't see it, chat. I've got a little handwritten note. We've discussed this before we start. And apparently, Aaron's fired his agent quite some time back on the say-so of Rio Ferdinand. And the reason this guy isn't at Leeds, because the new agent has literally been shopping around to try and get Aaron's a better deal in terms of salary, terms and conditions, and all the rest of it. With other clubs, Bournemouth have stepped forward. He's been in for a medical. He's literally left that medical partway through or after the medical is finished. And boom, off he goes to Bournemouth. And thank you very much, Leeds United. But I won't be signing any of your contracts. Thanks in part to Rio Ferdinand. So thanks for that, Rio. But from a player point of view, I don't know too much about this guy, Stu, nationality or anything like that. But it's a similar situation with Nonto, isn't it? Do you want to be playing in the Championship or the Premier League? You're going to get the same money, but the chances are you'll earn more money in the Premier League. Of course, 99% of players are probably going to say, yeah, I want to play the Premier League. Why would I want to play in the Championship? All right. I know as well as you know that Bournemouth is a tiny, tiny little club on the south coast, isn't it? The crowd size doesn't really matter to the players. The club's history doesn't matter to the players. It's who's playing more, who's paying more money, who's got the better terms and conditions. Where am I going to achieve my goals? If he's competing for a national place in a national squad, which I think he is. I seem to think that he's got connections with a couple of Leeds players in the England under-21s, and he knows them from that scene. And you'd think that, he's got connections with Farker. He's got a couple of players there that he already knows. Settling in is going to be quite easy for him. And instead, he's gone to an unknown down in, as far as I know. I mean, we don't know what connections he has. He might have a very good relationship with someone down on the management team down there at Bournemouth. And that's it. We've lost a signing. It's highly unlikely now Leeds are going to get him on the books. Yeah. And it's we talk about missed opportunities. What could Leeds, this is part of the reason why that we never hear very much from the 49ers. We literally just get leaks, whiffs of stuff going around online. And I think Phil Hay, by the sound of it, Stu, is quite embarrassed about. I think he's been reflective about his reporting. Am I right in saying that on Twitter? And he's kind of apologised and literally said, "That's it. Unless it's official and on the club's website now, I'm not saying anything about signings." And I think, from his point of view, it probably looks bad on his reputation, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It does.
But I don't think it does. But I mean, Phil A ain't responsive. He can only tell us what's going on, can't he? He can't say that, oh yeah, it's definitely going to happen and that's it. I'm not criticising Phil Hay in any way, by the way.
No.
But I'm just commenting about the story that I've seen that, he said, I think he described it as embarrassing or an embarrassment, something like that, and with a bit of an apology kind of thing. It's not his fault. He's not responsible for it. But this is part of the reason why 49ers are operating kind of in the shadows. They don't like leaks. And I think if this is the case going forward, that, we have to have some kind of issue with the agents to make sure that leaks are not spilt out in the public, because the agent knows, the player knows what's going on. And Bournemouth have obviously caught wind of it, and at the 11th hour they've stepped in and scuppered our signing. And I don't know if there's any kind of legal action or anything like that Leeds could follow up on. But the agent has been shopping around. Simple as that. But you see, has the game done anything to stop this business with agents over the years? No.
I agree. And let's be honest, an agent, right? They only want to look after themselves. They get the signing. They get paid for the. They will have got more from Bournemouth as a bonus than what they'll get from Leeds. I think poor Gary's frozen. Bless him. Well, while he's sorting that out, Glenn says here, at least we know that Leeds are trying to address the fullback issues. I agree with that, Glenn. Do you think the players? Do you think the players don't listen to each other and play for themselves? I think communications, like we've touched on earlier on, Ian. I think it's crucial. Like, you have great communicators in a team. Bradford's running penalties. He'll be back again. We'll get carried up with it. I think you can overtrain. Do Leeds train on grass? Ian, they train on grass. Wrap the players up in bubble wrap for the training and games. Simples. Right. See you soon, Avinda. Hamstrings can be done down to dehydration as well, lack of fluids, etc. If we could get anywhere near 60 million for Adams, Meslier and a child, I would be very happy. Gives me decent amount to play with for new signings. Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. And Amani, you had that conversation yesterday, my love, on phone, and you called it. You says he's none so, especially that after Cardiff game before the Shrewsbury game and stuff before everything come out. You said to me, is he looking for an angle to get out of the club by being with his trying to cause disciplinary issues? And you were spot on, Harmonie. Yeah, take care of Vinder, mate. Speak to you soon. Imagine 30 years ago, only one sub. How would clubs cope now? Exactly, Ermian. Players' footwear, etc., doesn't help in this day and age. Also, being too muscly as well. Yeah, there's no protection on them, is there? There's no protection on them. Don't forget, don't worry, Vinder. I'll get that sorted out for you. Right. It does seem a coincidence that Krieg gets injured and is back as the transfer window as the back as the transfer window closes. The club will protect their assets too. You're spot on, Ian. I think you're right. Hi, Glenn. Who do you support? Glenn says, "Remember we're Ian." Okay, Glenn. What league is she in? I don't know, bless her, but she's top of my league, mate. That's good to hear, Glenn. That's really good to hear, mate. Really, really good to hear. Who's your team, Ian? Your football team, that is. Glenn, Darlington FC, remember them back in the day? I do. I watched a HITC documentary on them a few weeks ago. You're as mad as us lot, LOL. Right, if anybody wants to listen to Gary on his own channel, that's the link to his channel. Believe me, he does put a lot of effort in. He really does. He does a lot of homework when it comes to doing his videos and stuff. He's been a great help to disabled team, that is for sure. Well, your previous owner, shameful how they treated you guys. Indeed, Glenn. Max Aaron's, to me, isn't that good. I think he is, Ian. I think he's a good player. You see, he's a good player. Big Mally were on, and they were talking about, and he's quite happy that the deal fell through because he says that money needs to be better spent on the areas of the pitch where we're badly affected, i.e., an out-and-out striker. He wants, we've got that. Apparently, Joe Rodon deal's done. That's all gone through. So, according to the report, so at least we've got a centre back in. Yeah. I'd have liked him. Many money talks we crack on exactly, Glenn. I really like him, Glenn. I think he's made a mistake, but good luck to him at Bournemouth. The world moves in mysteriously, Harmonie. It sure does, Glenn. We hope we can get Nat Phillips in. That's taking an awfully long time to get sorted out in it, Harmonie. The Nat Phillips situation. Any news on Stuart Dallas? I'll check. Well, as far as I haven't seen anything, Michael. I haven't heard much about him, if I'm honest. Let's have a look, see what I can find. Well, what I can find, 2 days ago. Let's have a look and see what he says. Right, Stuart Dallas admissions made as key behind the scenes at Leeds United role explained. Daniel Farker has underlined Stuart Dallas's Leeds United importance, even if he is some way off making a return to the pitch. Dallas hasn't been seen in a white shirt since fracturing his femur in April 2022 during the game against Man City at Ellen Road. As such, the Northern Ireland Irishman missed the entirety of last season. and with Leeds getting their latest campaign off the ground last weekend, Farker admits Dallas still doesn't have a concrete return date as the club's medical staff slowly but surely edging back to full fitness. However, the manager has taken the opportunity to speak about the key role Dallas has been playing off the field, with his character and personality being crucial when it comes to his squad morale. The 32-year-old is one of the oldest and most experienced members of the group, and Farker also believes such qualities are imperative within what's is a young squad. So it looks like he's not due back, and he says that it's not possible to give a time scale because his injury, it was a bad injury. So that's the latest, Michael. Glenn says, I still think we lose 4 more before the window closes. They'll know that. I'm not concerned at the moment. Well, I'm glad we've got you in chat, mate, because Glenn, because it's karma is needed. I think definitely needed, and I'm man that yes, Dallas is still in recovery. But it's like Farker says, he's playing an integral part around the squad. So that in theory, he's actually still involved with the with everything what's going off, which is really good to see. So we talked about the Aaron situation, right? The recap on Shrewsbury. Now I know Gary wanted to talk about this quite a bit, and the thing is with the Shrewsbury game, there were a blanket put over it where it wasn't broadcast anywhere. So all we had to go on was the. Are you right, Lee? Yeah. All we had to go on was the commentary from LUTV and stuff. And by the sound of it, Shrewsbury took the lead in first half, as we already know. But we come back fighting it second half. Dan James got some good plaudits along with Archie Gray and Ampadu as well. Even Ian Prevada got some really good applause when he went off. So again, I don't like us conceding, at Ellen Road, but we turned it around again at second half, and we through to the next round, and we play. Who do we play? Salford away at Salford in the next round of the cup. Here's Gary. He's back. Look, Gary's back.
Back, mate. I don't know how good this is going to be because we're on the 4G. We're on the phone, and
Are you still having problems with your internet, Gary? Haven't you paid your bill yet?
I've paid it, mate. I paid it, but I am having problems with our internet provider. They keep changing the billing date. That looks ridiculous, don't it?
So you don't like in UK then, Gary? Sorry to change subject, but you don't like in the UK? We have like Virgin, BT, all different providers you can go to. What is it like in Indonesia? Have you got options?
Oh yeah, in apartments you don't get many options. That's the trouble. So unfortunately, we're limited to a choice of 2, and we're on what we think is the better one. But it doesn't normally stop like it just has stopped. Just there. I mean, it literally could come back on any second. I don't know. But like anything, isn't it, Stu? There's nothing guaranteed in the world of online.
The show must go on. Right, I'm glad you're here because I know you wanted to have your say on the Shrewsbury game.
Yes, I've got to say that a lot of fans are disappointed. I'm very disappointed that we couldn't get access to this Carabao Cup first round match. But it doesn't sound like that's the be-all and end-all of it. And I think we're going to be in a situation where many of the rounds, if not all of them, are going to be blanked out completely. And I have seen reports circulating online that it's going to be 1 or 2 games per round that are aired, and then the final, the quarterfinals, semi-finals, etc. And if that's the case, surely that is going to be detrimental to the EFL, because they do sell the TV rights elsewhere around the world. We can't get them in Indonesia we couldn't get any Carabao Cup game. The only Carabao Cup game we could get was Leicester. It was the Leicester game. And to me, that's really disappointing. How is it that Leicester get their share of the TV exposure? Leeds United don't. We're a bigger club than they are. But you see, that might be to do with ownership and stuff like that, because Leicester have a Thai connection, which is King Power. So, it was available in Asia, was that game, on I think locally on Mola TV or beIN Sports, one of the other two. And in my opinion, EFL need to really consider their options. And make sure that the game is reaching as many fans as possible. Certainly when you think about these smaller clubs, Stu, these smaller clubs rely on those revenues. And is it detrimental to the smaller clubs, this decision? I don't think that was the case last year. I think we could pretty much watch any game that we wanted to. And are they actually degrading the value of the Carabao Cup by not making more games available worldwide? Because we're talking about a worldwide sport, and even though Leeds we're not Premier League, the EFL should be pushing the message to the global audiences that there's more to English football than just the Premier League, which is frustrating, isn't it? How did you feel about not being able to watch that match?
Well, I was gutted because I wanted to do a watch along with Lee. You know what I mean? He was looking forward to using his microphone. We thought, we should be able to you should be able to watch it somehow. But do you think it all boils down to money, Gary?
I think anything in the TV business does, Stu, to be honest with you. Is it a dispute between how much the TV companies are willing to pay versus the EFL expectations, or is it just a case of there's not enough global interest in that particular tournament, and there wasn't enough global interest last season, so we're not going to bother showing it. But in the UK, you've got all these other providers: BT, Amazon, Sky, of course, and I think that was it true that they only chose to show the Leicester game? Yeah, that is really, really upsetting. I think, to be honest with you, I don't know if we should have some kind of change.org petition, or we should just all flood their inboxes with emails from disgruntled fans. But I certainly could say to the EFL, I think they've dropped a bit of a clanger with this, and I'm not at all happy with the decision not to screen the Carabao Cup. It's not costing them anything, is it? You know what I mean? They're the ones, they're the recipients of the revenue. The costing side of it should surely lie or be borne by the media companies that are pumping out the content.
I agree.
Yeah, very, very upset with that, and I know a lot of fans are very upset. They were spent hours looking online, no joy.
Mm.
There was a rumor went round that someone was streaming it on YouTube, but I don't know how accurate that is or was. And YouTube are very keen on copyright infringement, so they're not going to allow that to go on for very long. I don't think. By the time most people have seen the link, it was probably taken down anyway.
Lee has just broke some interesting news. We were talking about him earlier on. Harry Kane increasingly likely to stay at Tottenham despite Spurs accepting an £86 million bid from Bayern Munich.
Wow, phenomenal!
So it looks like he's staying.
Yeah. I think he'll probably stay. I think his heart's in Spurs, and that's it. And he doesn't need the payday. Doesn't Harry Kane? So why bother? But I mean, there's still time yet, Stu. We could see some silly offers coming in from Saudi Arabia. Jordan Henderson's managed to get himself £750,000 a week, whatever it is. I don't see him leaving Spurs, but I mean, it has to be something exceptional. I mean, when you account for the salary, they were saying that the deal would be worth about £250 million. Wow, that's absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? That one deal is literally worth almost as much as our entire football club.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's
absolutely
crazy.
Isn't it?
Harmonie, Michael Brown asked about if there's any more news on Stuart Dallas, and all Farkas said he's a long way off yet. And Harmonie says, I did say I broke my femur. I couldn't walk properly for nearly 2 years and was only able to jog a little from 18 months. It's the biggest bone in the body. It takes a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And then Glenn says, assuming that we beat Salford, who would everyone like to be joining the third round in the perfect world? And Harmonie says Rotherham. She's got a thing for Rotherham as our Harmonie. She likes the stadium. She loves is it the New York Stadium or whatever it's called?
Yeah. I don't have any preference. I think I'd like to see us against the Premier League outfit. Perhaps a Newcastle or something that's going to be a good test for us, or something that's going to be good for us to see just where we're at versus a big club. A big club in the Premier League. A Newcastle United, always an entertaining fixture. A Liverpool, always an entertaining fixture. Of course, Man United. Man City. I don't know if I'll be that. Yeah, Man City. Why not bring Man City to Elland Road? Get Haaland down there. Bring Calvin back for a bit of banter.
Well,
Calvin might get a game. Calvin might get a game in Carabao Cup for him.
Well, he's got to break through as Calvin this season. Otherwise, I think his Man United, his short Man City career might be over. If he don't break through this season. His friend is from Sweden and she can get a ticket. She supports them. That's why she wants Rotherham, bless her.
There we go. Right, go on then. Last time
you were in the Championship, you were moaning you were on TV too much. I love football fans.
We will be on football. We will be on TV a lot more this season. It's the Carabao Cup thing, isn't it? Not everybody gets the chance to watch the games. I would like to have seen us being on the Carabao Cup. The more Leeds are on TV, the better for me. You know what I mean? So I mean, we don't have to pay the LUTV £10 a pop every time, then, do we? I mean, I'm all for supporting the club, but it's starting to get a bit steep, isn't it? Compared to how it was for it was about £5 a pop in Championship, I think. Last time we were in Championship, so yeah, £10 a pop over a season, 460 quid. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, and
it's not me in some dodgy maths. My brain's
But you
fried.
know what gets me though, right, Gary, is right. You know, these chairmen and owners of clubs and stuff go on about, you know, they know what it is, what it means to be a Leeds fan and know the area and stuff like that. So if they know the area, they know that West Yorkshire isn't exactly rolling in cash capital at the moment. So why not make them cheaper for people, or do like a deal where, like a season ticket, where you get all games and you pay so much as a one-off payment.
The reason is, and if you looked at Shrewsbury's website, they offered a monthly pass, and that was £25 a month for all the Shrewsbury games. And the thing for Leeds is this, you know, if they start offering it too cheap on TV, what they're worried about then is fans won't bother going to Elland Road. It'll be the same argument as that we've been having with football clubs for years. Fans won't go to Elland Road because it's a lot cheaper for them to purchase a game online, so they'll end up with an empty stadium. Which, of course, I don't think that's the case. Given the choice, I think most fans would probably say, I'd rather go and watch the game in person than sit at home in the front room watching the match on some TV. It beggars belief, but I mean, this sort of thing's been reviewed, time and again over the years, hasn't it, by football clubs, government, and the authorities and stuff like that. So, they try and monopolise stuff and make it so that, it bleeds as much money out of the punter as possible. Because it's entertainment, Stu. These money men, they don't see it as a sport. It's entertainment. We mentioned that word earlier, didn't we? So yeah, I mean, for a lot of Leeds fans, they'll probably say, for a small portion of Leeds fans, they'll probably say, I'm not spending a tenner watching that. I've already got this subscription, that subscription.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But 10 quid is like 3 pints down at the pub.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably 2.5 pints in some places. So, I think you've got to think, well, it's just a night. It means a night not going out to the pub and watching my football team. But depends what gives you the most enjoyment in life, doesn't it? So, yeah, there you go.
Football every time, mate. Football every time.
Football every time for me as well. I think, we'll have to do it because this is what we do, isn't it? I do watch-alongs and stuff like that. You want to watch the game, you're housebound and stuff like that. It's difficult for you to get anywhere and stuff. We spoke about that off air before. So yeah, difficult one, Stu. Difficult. Next item of business, is there another one?
Yes, of course there is. Just get through some of these comments.
Let's hear some of the comments. It's difficult. I'll just say it's difficult for me to see these comments now because it's on the phone.
What I'll do is I'll read it out for you.
Go on.
They're talking about, about Harmonie says here that we all. I think we all said that the EFL needs us for TV revenue. Yeah, and then Luke Legend says, yeah, Leeds need to get out of the Carabao Cup. No use to you, that one.
Yeah.
£100,000 to the winner of the Carabao Cup, I think. The season
ticket is a
good idea, but would it breach the agreement with Sky? And would Sky lose subs? Probably, if they did a season ticket, yeah. I won't get Sky Sports in. I only get Sky Sports in so I can watch the football. For the record, I want Bradford away. Mark Hughes, nearest rivals. It would be hilarious knocking them out.
That's a good shout. Glenn. Yeah.
I live about 3 miles away from Bradford City Stadium. Maybe a bit more. Maybe about 4 miles. But yeah. £10 gets me a lot of water out of my tap.
Yeah. A lot of folk will be saying the same thing, everybody's getting squeezed left, right and centre. My mum and dad were talking about the heating and gas and electric. and how it went up during my stay there. It went up by about 20%. So they ended up paying an extra 200 quid for a month, for gas and electric, and how everybody's just getting stiffed over for basic utilities and all the rest of it, and everybody's getting squeezed. But it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon, does it? So for a lot of people are struggling with all of this stuff. Let's not get on too much of that. That's not what this podcast is all about. We could rant all day about that. If we open that can of worms, I'll tell you, Stu, we'll be here for another 5 hours.
Yeah, it would also see Man United have more money than the rest of us put together. Big up your Holy Ghost. Hope you're doing well, mate. Hiya, Stu and Gary.
Hello, Holly. Is it Holly? Holy Ghost. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Michael says, what happens to the players out on loan next season? Will they be sold on or out of contracts when they can leave for free?
What do you think?
Well, I don't know if they'll be welcomed back with open arms by Leeds United fans. I really don't. So maybe we're hoping that these players do well at the clubs what they've gone out to and then put in a bid, and we just accept it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the case, isn't it? And I think the other argument, there's a couple of different arguments here, I think, but I think that it depends on where we are, Stu.
Yeah.
If we are a Premier League outfit next year, and if we can command a higher fee for them, we're going to get that higher fee for them. Is it a case of, everybody kind of jumps to the gun, don't they, and say, oh, well, they might not be welcome back, blah, blah, blah. We have to consider the possibility that maybe some of these players didn't want to go out on loan, and the club said, look, it's the only choice that we have for you. You're not going to get starting 11 game this year. And to maintain your fitness and your career, we're recommending that you take this loan regardless. So you'll be helping us out, you'll be helping yourself out. We get them off the books and send them wherever they've gone. So it might not always be through, they might have been pushed rather than jumped into these loan deals. Is it a case they wanted to escape Leeds United? I mean, the other side of the coin there is then, well, if that was the case, why did they accept a loan and not a full-on transfer?
Yep, it's a good point. Really good point, Gary. Yeah. Really, really good point.
Sad one. I hope that we do offload them, wish them well, get them on the way. If they're not committed to Leeds United, get them out the door. That's it. Done.
Yeah, I agree. I want 0 of them back. That's what Armani's saying. Glenn says I don't want any of them back. Koch is on a free, Michael. Robin Koch will be on a free after this season.
Yeah.
It says for 75 million on our wage bill by them being on loan. Every one of them wanted to leave 100%.
Yeah.
So
quite possibly.
The next subject I want to talk about, Gary, is the Nanto asking not to be selected.
Yeah.
Before the game, for against Shrewsbury. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, is it him or is it the agent? And is there interest on him? And is he keen on going to Everton? I still don't think I think if he goes, it'd be a fool to send him to Everton. And we need the money. That reaction against Cardiff didn't look like a player who wanted to leave, and his heart wasn't in it for me. I think we have to consider possibility of agent interference on that one, Stu. I mean, I think I think a lot of players, a lot of the fans love him, and I think a lot of people are disappointed to see that that's what he said. But we don't know the full tale from Farker. We're not likely to know the full story from the club at all, I don't think. But look, if he wants to leave, and if any player wants to leave, just do what Liam Cooper told you to do.
Go.
That's it. Just go. Don't hang around. We don't want all these emotional goodbyes and all. If your heart's not in Leeds United and you think you're a better player than you think you are, go. But if it were me, I'd be saying to Nonto like this: look, you're going to rip it up in Championship. You'll do really well here. Next year, if we're not Premier League, go then. You're on a 5-year deal. Everything's set for you here. You don't need to go anywhere. Just hang on in there. Championship, you'll love it. You'll be great, and you can make a real name for yourself, and that'll make the Italian side more likely to say, well, actually, he''s not in the Premier League, but he's having a storming season. He's banged in 30 goals for Leeds United. Whatever he touches turns to gold. We can't ignore Wilfred Gnonto in the international starting 11. And the manager would be unwise to do that, wouldn't he? He's going to get pressure from press, the public in Italy. Seems daft to me. I think Gnonto would be best served staying at Leeds. But if he wants to go, his heart's not in it, and all this other stuff. Open the door, kick him out, get rid. You don't want him hanging around. If there's a good offer, there's got to be a good offer on the table, Stu. We don't have to sell him. He's got 4.5. He's just signed a 5-year deal, hasn't he? So, he's under. But you see, if we want, we could really mess his career up. We'll shove him in the development squad. We'll separate him from. If he starts doing a Balotelli or whatever, because they can get a bit upset, can't they? We still have him on contract, and that's that. So he's snookered, But Leeds have to be firm with him, I think, and try and hold on. But sort these damn agents out. That's the thing for me. What do you think?
I agree, but Glenn says here, Gnonto has denied this for the record. Well, that's why I put there according to reports, but according to Gnonto, he's denied it.
I'm going to have to go, Stu. I've got the little one's very, very sick, so I'm going to have to go. I'm just being told he's
you get off, mate. I will finish up, mate. Make sure.
All right. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Stu's going to continue the stream. See you later.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Right.
Take care, guys.
Bye, mate. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Right. Gary's young one's not very well. He told me about it before we went live. Bless him. I hope his little one's okay. That's more important to me. Gnonto has denied this for the record. Armani says there are pictures of him in an Everton shirt, and he's been liking them. I will pay for his cab fee to get to Everton. I don't care who stays, who goes, or what comes. I am very encouraged at what I have seen so far. Hiya, Bandy, mate. Hope you and family are good. The 49, if it could be the 49ers PR making the player look bad rather than taking flack for selling a popular player. They do need to sell assets. We need to bring some money in, don't we? You're right, Glenn. We do need to bring some money in. The PR team are pushing over players and swearing at the linesman. It was done. So that's very true. Yep, he was doing that. He was doing that. Man, he said, "See you later" to Gary. I'll message him when we've wrapped up this thing. There's only one more thing really now, and unfortunately Gary's not here. But hopefully, guys, you can help me with this last one. Any other business? Is there anything you guys out there would like to say? As you know, I try to get you all involved as best I can. So, is there you want to talk about him specifically for the next 10 minutes, or is everybody happy with what they've heard today? But yeah, look, to say it's our second podcast, shall we say? It's gone well. I think it's going well. I really do. It's what I enjoy doing, as you know. Love talking to you all out there. This is, I mean, it's like Marcilla said to me, we were discussing this yesterday, and Scylla said to me, she says, the reason why you like doing YouTube so much is because it's your way of communicating with people, talking about football with outside worlds. Because, as Gary pointed out, I don't go out an awful lot due to my condition and stuff. So this is my way of this is my social, if you like. This is like being at my local. This is like being at a local social club for me. You know, talking to all you guys out there. You know, and you know, this is why when me and Lee set this channel up, that's why we did it. You know, Lee didn't communicate much, and he didn't mix with his. You know, he didn't have many friends with him going to a special school. So, you know, that's why that's why I do it. That's the only reason why I do it, really. Don't get no out of it. Don't want to make it get out of it. I just want for you guys out there to have somewhere where you can all talk. Pods help people too, mate. Remember that. Thanks, Glenn. I just want people to get on board and back the 49ers. Give them time like Farker needs time. We are in a great place, I promise. Look, I'm on it. Look, you know, I spoke to you about this yesterday, and you put my mind at ease. That's why I'm a lot more relaxed about it. But I was annoyed when the story broke with Willie Nonto. It annoyed me. It got to me. I don't normally react like that. I really don't. But you know, yeah, I think I like. I mean, I watched a bit of the press conference tonight, this afternoon. But obviously, we were getting ready to do this show, so I'm going to rewatch it back again. But he does come across as telling us the right things, doesn't he? You know, and I don't mean just telling us the right things, being honest and genuine with it as well. I think that's a really good thing what Farkin does, because he'll know that the 49ers don't communicate with us an awful lot. And let's be honest, you know, the only way of communicating with Leeds United is through the manager at this moment in time. So I think that's why he's genuine and honest. And I think he's always been like that. He was like that at Norwich as well. You know, I mean, I don't get why people used to take the Michael out of him for the way he talked and stuff like that. I think that's, you know, I think that's just narrow-mindedness. You know, look, let's be honest. You know, he didn't have to come to Leeds. He could have said no. You know, he didn't have to take the job on, did he? Cam Waters are far better than Choppy Seeds. Very true, Hermione. That's very true. Smile and give Nonto 2 fingers, mate. The Leeds win. Yeah. Yeah, well, look, if a player, right, Glenn, if it's true, right, like you says, it's been reported. If these reports are true, right, which I've got no reason to disbelieve them, because there's been more and more different, you know, newspapers, online papers coming out and saying the same thing. If it's true, mate, yeah, you know, we don't want players like that. You know, as club, we want fighters. We want players who want to fight for badge and wear that famous white shirt. You know, it's true. It's very true. Hermione's laughing at Glenn. That's brilliant. So, guys, look, I'm going to. If has anyone got what else they want to say? Because I'm going to start wrapping up now, everybody. Before I do, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Much appreciated. You know, this channel were built on a promise that we'd never ask for help, and that's how it's going to stay. That's how it's always going to be. You know, and that's how it's going to be. So, you know, we hope you've enjoyed it. We really do. You know, we try, and with Gary as well. Gary's brilliant because he goes in depth into a lot of things he talks about. You know, I guess this is why he's an English teacher. Do you know what I mean? In Indonesia. But yeah, again, if anyone wants to check him out, I have put I have put the link to his channel in the in the title as well. So hopefully that should be okay. Yeah. Right. So first show, Stu. Can now head off and get my train home. Catch you tonight. Yeah. Look, guys. Thank you very much for watching this edition of Table Team. Until next time, guys. Have a lovely evening, and I will speak to you all soon. It's a goodbye from me, guys. Take care.